Hi and welcome to NRHA Inside Reining. I'm Jennifer Reynolds, and this week, for those of you who didn't grow up around horses, we have a story you may relate to. It's about a man from New York who grew up in the Bronx but knew someday he wanted to move west and become a horseman. We'll take you to Michael Miola's Silver Spurs in Cave Creek, Arizona, where he's living his dream and working to build the next generation of reining champions. Silver Spurs head trainer, NRHA professional Brett Stone, a former NRHA futurity champion, will share his training secret for keeping a horse comfortable in the center of the arena. That's all coming up on NRHA Inside Reining.
It's as intricate as figure skating, as exciting as rodeo. It's reining, the hottest discipline in the horse world. From the early days when eager riders slid their horses whenever and wherever they could, reining has evolved into a sophisticated international sport, taking the world by storm. Join us for the next half hour as we go behind the scenes to meet the people and horses who make reining great. This is NRHA Inside Reining.
Michael Miola is a New York financier who very early in life discovered something much bigger than the Big Apple, the American West.
My family took their, like most Easterners did, their pilgrimage out west. And mine was done when I was 13. And when we hit Denver, Colorado, I knew that I was born to be out west. I was never born to live in the Bronx. And I knew that someday I'd be out here. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, but I knew that at some point this is where we were going to be. We fell in love with reining. And when we moved to Arizona in 2002, we bought a couple of horses and we kept them at a stable here in Arizona. Well, the instructor introduced me to this fellow by the name of Brett Stone. And a match in heaven was made. And that's how the ranch was started. But what was key in the development of Silver Spurs was, what were we going to do with it? It wasn't going to be just a ranch where we would take in boarders and train other people's horses. We wanted to start a ranch where we would start our own elite line of quarter horses. Brett would train them, we'd show them, and we'd sell them.
What we're trying to do now is breed cutting horse mares to reining horse stallions, cutting horse stallions to reining horse mares. I said, Michael, I think the way that we need to go with this is to go with the one I'm familiar with. And Michael, when he first saw Boomernick, he instantly, and Michelle, they fell in love with him instantly. And from that point on, we said, well, if Boomernick crosses so well on Bueno Chexes and King Fritz's and Hollywood Jacks and the foundation horses, I had never rode a Topsail Whiz, but I had followed Conquistador Whiz's career, and I just always loved that horse. Plus, he was out of a daughter of Bueno Chex, and I was like, you know what? If we could ever get him.
And as Brett said, the cross of Boomernick mares with Conquistador Whiz is proving to be the golden cross, in my opinion. But we didn't just start with Boomernick and say, okay, now we have Conquistador Whiz. Like a good poker player, you always cut the cards. There's a lot of good stallions out there. And we bought the offspring, both colts and mares, of all of them, both on the reining side and on the cutting side, so that we can experiment with what we're going to do. How much cutting blood, how much reining blood, which cutting blood, which reining blood. Those are all things that we're working on now.
Headlining the stallion roster at Silver Spurs, NRHA $1 Million sire Boomernick by Reminick out of the Mr. Gunsmoke mare Docs Leave 'em Smoke. Boomernick, the 1992 NRHA Futurity Open champion, is no longer available for breeding, but his offspring are for sale at Silver Spurs. There's also Conquistador Whiz by Topsail Whiz out of Sugarita Chex by Bueno Chex. He was NRHA Open Derby and NRBC champion, as well as 2002 WAG Gold and Silver medalist. Doc's Fritzy Command by Fritz Command out of Ann Dockbar. Also Rough Conqueror by Conquistador Whiz, Finest China Rose by Footwork's Finest, Chromology by Custom Chrome, and No Cream No Sugar by Lean With Me.
My wife and I handle all of the breeding. We do all of the collections, all of the inseminations, right through embryo transfers ourselves. We were trained in the art, or the science, I should say, at Colorado State. And we do it all. It is a passion for us, a labor of love for us. There is nothing we would rather be doing. When the babies fall out, Michelle and I are there. We full out every single one of them. So we bring the product into the world. We create the product, bring it into the world, and after their moms are pregnant with next year's foal crop, we send them down to our pastures in Tubac, Arizona. We have a couple of 100 acres there. And our weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds grow up there in pasture. And they come back when they're about 2.5 years old, depending on how they've grown. And that's when they hit Brett's domain. We're breeders. We do not care who's riding that horse as long as it has the Silver Spurs brand on its hip. That's a fact. You can take that to the bank. Do we want Brett to win the Futurity again? Absolutely. But we've got so many good ones coming up that Brett will always be mounted. We also have a Boomernick Futurity Incentive Award. It's $50,000, goes to the owner of the horse at the time of the Futurity. And if they win the non-pro, a $30,000 prize to be paid directly by Silver Spurs. All Boomernicks bought from Silver Spurs will always be entitled to the Futurity Incentive Award as it was laid out. We also have a Conquistador Whiz Futurity Incentive Award. The same money, $50,000 for the open Futurity and $30,000 for the non-pro. The $50,000 is split evenly between the breeder of record and the owner of the horse at the time of the Futurity. After all, it was the breeder that took the chance and bred to Conquistador Whiz. I don't want to leave him out of the glory. There are so many people in my business, the financial services industry, ask me, what are you doing? And they don't get it. They don't understand. But when I take them up to the ranch and they see the peace and tranquility that we have here, when you come through the walls of our ranch or the gates of our ranch, the rest of the world doesn't exist. And it's all about creating life and training that life to be the best that it can be, and there is no place on earth that I'd rather be.
Silver Spurs trainer Brett Stone, who's a former NRHA Futurity champion, has a method he uses for making that crucial center part of the arena into a safe zone for his horses. When we come back, he'll share that with us.
You're watching NRHA Inside Reining, the first and only show dedicated entirely to the sport of reining. For more information on Silver Spurs in Cave Creek, Arizona, or anything you see on this program, go to InsideReining.com. And to get the latest on what's happening behind the scenes at Inside Reining, check out our new page on Facebook.